Hello, this is Nathan, better known as CrazyhermitDM, and this is my podcast, The Hermit's Homebrew. Joining me today is Brent from Langeministudio, and Chase, who is better known as Kilk. I showed you clips to it the last time we tried to record this because the audio programs with the Sly Forest guy, because I listened to his podcast, The Lazy DM. But like Roll for Combat said on one of his podcasts, because I listen to him weekly now, is because he built websites for major corporations. That was his thing before he really got into making tabletop his main jam. Of what they just see us as the obstacle to get to our money.
Yeah.
Right. And that's all it is. And I feel like people have not understood that for so long.
No.
That these companies aren't there to make you happy. They're there to take your money because they want to make money.
Yeah.
And that's just the nature of business, unfortunately.
Yeah,
especially in a consuming world that just wants to constantly consume everything that they can.
Yep.
And
exactly.
There's just no way effectively to stop that in reality. Companies will always want to make money, and there's no way to prevent that from happening, because if they're not making money, they're considered a failing company.
Yeah, or there's not
Unless you're
a 10% financial growth, then it's a failure.
If they're a publicly traded company, is to make money. And even if they're a privately traded company, looking at Epic Games, they make Fortnite, they own Rocket League, like they're a private company out of Canada. Mm-hmm. They don't report anything to anybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but
their sole purpose is to make money.
Oh, yeah.
A good Pirate Software. I don't know if you know who that is or you do. He worked for Blizzard. He worked on StarCraft. He worked on World of Warcraft. He did a lot of stuff. He actually worked for the Department of Energy at one point.
Oh, wow, okay.
Where he's paid to hack their the power plants. They would call him and be like, "Hey, you need."
Oh, he's a white hat hacker, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. But now he's a streamer.
He was the reason why that was the premise for the second season of Mr. Robot, was based on what he used to do. Hack corporations to see.
Yeah. To find their holes in security.
And he makes a lot of good points about businesses and transactions and stuff like, because he worked on that side. He's told a story about it, how Blizzard, StarCraft 2, everybody knows StarCraft 2, most people do. Yeah. Or just StarCraft in general.
Yeah.
It's a big game.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, hey, StarCraft 2 was a big game for a while. Like, it's older now, but there's still tons of people playing it. He said one pet in World of Warcraft, a little unicorn pet that you could go buy for X amount of money, it could be $15, who knows.
Yeah.
That one pet made more money than all of StarCraft 2 Wings of Liberty did in their full sales. And you think that the company cares about the people on StarCraft 2 complaining?
I was into Final Fantasy: A Realm Reborn for a really long time.
Oh, nice, yeah.
And I was with some people at work. We were in a guild together. We would go and do like raids and stuff like that.
Was it?
I think so.
14.
Yeah, 14.
And then it shut down.
Yeah, I like the way they spun. I like the way they spun the story.
Yeah.
And they gave they did actually like a cutscene for like that world basically getting
destroyed. Yeah.
And then
they did a good job with it.
Yeah.
When it came back, it's huge now.
Oh, it's massive. Fucking massive.
I used to play 11, so
11. Okay.
I played 11 too. I never did play 14, but like.
Yeah, but you're right. There's they'll have mounts and stuff like that, to where one of my friends, he's like
$10.
He's like die hard into it. He's like, hey, if we do this raid 12 times, it's got like a 5% drop chance. Chances are we're all gonna get it. And I'm like, okay, so we would go do it, and it was like 2 weeks of like just 2 or 3 hours a day just grinding this raid. And we all got the mount, fantastic, awesome. Like literally 2 weeks later, it was for sale in the game store for like $10.
Yeah.
And I was kind of, and so I asked my friend, like, hey, do you have your finger on the pulse of this? He was like, yeah, kind of like, how many people are buying that mount? He goes, dude, you have no idea.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it doesn't surprise me.
They make so much money, man.
So
the microtransactions in video games, and that's why
my God.
when we talk about D&D Beyond, for instance, and the changes and how do they incorporate that specifically into books and things like that, and I'm like,
well, you're the one most affected by that.
Because I run Vicky and I's characters off of there.
Yeah.
That's how I choose our spells and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not really going to bother me, because I really just use it to see what are the spells that I could have. Mm-hmm. Because on D&D Beyond, I actually have every spell on there.
Okay.
I don't own all the books. but I own all the character creation stuff.
Yeah.
Because you can piecemeal out.
Yeah.
And that's
all
what they were
the
talking
chunks.
about. That was the only part that they're
Yeah.
talking about changing was the spells and the magic items.
Yeah, and that's fine. Like, I have all the races on there. I have all the
Species.
backgrounds. The
Either way.
species, yeah. But, like, I use it for character creation more than anything. I'm not one of those, like, I see the people on Twitch, and I see them on, and stuff like that, and they're using it for, like, their Roll20 games. They're using it for their Foundry VTT games. That
Yeah,
they're streaming.
virtual tabletop stuff.
Yeah, and it works great and great. Like, that's awesome. But I don't specifically use it for that. So if they came out and they were like, oh, these are all the updates, like, that wouldn't affect me. But it would probably affect things like More Purple, More Better.
Yeah.
Right? Because he has to, when he's creating his pages, he basically using what they're putting out
Yep.
and formulating that into his
he's-
books. So
So
this was
last time
coming
I checked
one
out
way or
his
another,
Patreon,
regardless.
Oh, yeah.
it was a couple months ago
yeah.
because I had to re-download it because I lost it. And then he has the 2014 version, so obviously up to date with all the pre-stuff, except for, unfortunately, Gunslinger from Critical Role. Unless he has it somewhere and I can't figure out how to download it on.
It might just not be something that people were
And
utilizing.
then,
Yeah.
well, he has other Critical Role stuff like Blood Hunter, I think.
Who plays gunslingers?
Yeah. But he's
Nick?
also working on the 2024 version, has a very basic version of it so already.
Does he? Nice. Yeah, it's just, I mean, this was going to happen one way or another. Everybody's upset that it's happening before the books are officially even out for us to, like, have our hands on it.
And I think that's
buy.
where my hang up is that it's just the player's handbook now, and then they're talking about doing switches in D&D Beyond, updating it to the 2024 rule set when all of the books aren't even out yet.
Right.
I mean, it's a minor thing because they say everything's backwards compatible. So, okay, it's not really that big of a deal, but it does seem kind of...
Is it going to change, you said, character abilities? So, like, would the Paladin Smite thing be
The Paladin's
updated?
Smite, I don't know. If it's just spells, no. Well, but it could be yes, because Paladin Smite is now a spell,
Right. Yep.
not an ability. So, maybe. So, I'm operating
Well,
off of...
Within 72 hours, they
Rescinded it.
rescinded it as of midnight on a Sunday.
Yeah.
On a,
Yeah.
And
And it's
sneak that in the back door.
it's one of these things that, like, they should at least put out a newsletter or a message that says, hey, next month on this date, we're planning on doing this. What are the community's thoughts?
The community's thoughts
That's-
are don't do it. Give us the chance. Give us the option.
Wait
of
for
a
the
choice.
books to come out,
Yeah.
or at least put a selection in there where you can select 2024
Yes.
versus this, and then it just changes their formulas because that's not hard to do.
Yeah, see, and that's the thing. I mean, I'm not a computer programmer. I mean,
It's not hard to do.
I
No,
understand that Oppenheimer would rather have made the A bomb than learn C++, but I mean, it shouldn't be that hard to have a little checkbox
No,
to go
it's not.
2014,
No, in fact,
2024. I
That's
want to make a
one of the
character in
points
this one.
I brought up on because I made like basically a little timeline to hand you guys. Is an interesting fact is they do allow third-party products on the site, and you can filter out what's official
Yes.
and what's third-party. Why couldn't they just initially just 2014, 2024?
Yeah, we're
So-
also in 5th edition, so why not?
Yeah, so you can also make your own spells and stuff on that site. That site is all encompassing on creating your own campaign. It's not very intuitive, but like those tools all exist there already. So what they're doing is trying to force people into their new system before their new system is
Even comes out.
ready for people to be in it. And if they can push that back a little bit so where the transition into the new system is easier, I think they're going to see a lot more success.
Or even waited until next year. Wait till quarter 3 to where all 3 books are out. Hey, January 1, 2025, we are going to do the hard switch to this.
Yeah.
The problem that I'm getting off a lot of creators of what they're doing with 5.5, 6e, whatever people want to call it. It was originally supposed to be D&D 1, but they rolled back on that.
I say
guess.
5.5 because
They literally had it on like videos and all this. This is D&D 1.
D&D
It would
1,
be the
yeah.
one
Honestly, if
edition
everything
incoming.
is
I saw the
changed,
logo.
It should
D&D.
just be
It
6.0.
it'll just be 6 point, either 5.5
Well, that's
or
all-
6.0.
From
yeah.
what I'm seeing from the player's handbook, they're just saying this is basically 5th edition remaster.
Yeah, just like from 3rd edition to 3.5.
Yeah. It's just a remaster of that. But they unlike when fifth edition was built, Brent probably remembers they did series, like heavy series of playtests with heavy
Oh, yeah.
community feedback. like by the hundreds of thousands.
Yeah, they're going to conventions and like, hey, here, read this, play these games.
They didn't do that with this edition.
Oh, no.
Their AI says they don't need to.
All hail the overlords.
Yeah, it's coming.
AI is supposed to take over the menial jobs so that humans are allowed to be creative, not take over the creative jobs so that humans can do the menial work.
I will say this: my buddies and I had a cool conversation about AI the other day, and they were like, "This is going to change this," and I said, "Do you want to know what the biggest change is going to be in AI?" Straight up, it's going to be when traffic and logistics are taking over by AI. So if I want to drive from Omaha to Washington, D.C., I can plug that into my smart car, and that car will drive me through traffic in the fastest, most efficient way possible by itself. Once our logistical travel gets to that point, all those big rigs, all those, trucks that are by the millions that are being shipped across country left and right all over the place, once all of that is on like a network that is all adjusted so it's the most efficient thing you can think of, society is gonna blow
Do you believe they covered that in Isaac Asimov's
You are
Oh, did they?
You are experiencing a traffic accident.
Yeah, so
and
they
they're
do
trying
that
to
a
kill
little
Will
bit.
Smith.
Yeah. That was one where he like fought him while the car was driving.
Yeah, to where like the lady he was driving was like, whoa, what are you doing driving manually?
Yeah.
He was like, I'm not gonna let a robot tell me where to go.
Right.
Yeah, and then the robot's trying to kill him. You're experiencing a traffic accident. They're trying to kill him.
But from a logistical standpoint, right? Truck drivers have to go to sleep. They just do, right? They have, it's a wild job that those guys do, and they have to sleep at times. Eventually, they won't have to worry about that.
And then we're gonna have a
car will just drive.
Then we're gonna have a canal issue.
There'll be a lane on every highway that
I drive a
can connect to your car.
2021 Nissan Sentra. The features it has now, my phone's hooked up to it now. One of the nicest features is with the GPS, it tells me the speed limit in that area. That way I know I'm following it. If I suddenly, it feels like I'm veering to a lane, it vibrates the wheel.
Oh, it vibrates the wheel.
Does it do the wheel shake? Okay, cool.
Okay.
But there's going to be HOV lanes, right? Back in the day, HOV lanes were if you had more than one occupant.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Carpool
high
lanes,
occupancy vehicle lanes,
Yeah.
right? So there's
Going to be automated.
it will
lanes.
not, there's going to be an automated lane where you connect to it and it'll be like, enter lane now. Bloop. Now you enter the lane and then you're just free driving. And
So
it's the computer that operates on every...
We're gonna have automated semis before I can take a train from Omaha to Kansas City.
Probably, yeah.
But I mean, that's all going to play into D&D as well. I mean,
Yeah.
Oh, you
I
want to
heard
play your
probably
character for
one-
you? Here, automated character. You get to go.
You can already do it.
You can
I
watch
heard
TikTok.
one of the most it was a pretty big wake up call off Roll for Combat again. He just did it a week or two ago. He was talking about it, and he's 50-ish, I think.
Okay.
About maybe almost 60. I think he's 50s. But when you come to the realization when D&D's making all these changes and we're complaining about, we're not the target audience they're going after anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
That's true.
Oh yeah.
Biggest, the all digital. I'm sure your daughter knows this. There's a no paper initiative in most public schools now.
That does probably... So my daughter just started 6th grade.
Okay.
Today was her second day at school. Mm-hmm. Her first day was Friday. Today they gave her laptop so that she can do all of her schoolwork on it and all this other stuff. And I was like, I remember having to learn how to write cursive
Oh yeah. All the
and then never using it.
all the textbooks are online. Yeah. Yeah. At the facility I work at, every single client there, every one of them has a tablet.
Yeah.
And my department is responsible for issuing them and handing them out and everything. I was like, what the hell?
I've been in relationships with people that were 10 years younger than me that didn't know how to read an analog clock.
That's wild to me. My daughter knows how to read a clock. No matter what Wizards of the Coast does, there's always going to be a negative light shined on it.
No.
right?
Oh, of course.
Because they're not going to be able to please everybody.
No.
And one thing that we really have to understand, right, is for instance, I play a lot of Overwatch.
Yep.
And I listen a lot and I read a lot and I look through a lot of the community and their comments on changes when changes are made to the game. Mm-hmm. And it's always negative.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone's always like, well, and they're like, this is why the game's in the dumpster. This is why it's crashing. Or like Apex, they make a change in their game and people are complaining about it, right? But when I look at their player base versus the amount of people who are complaining right now, the company's not going to care.
Yeah.
Right? So, for instance, Apex Legends, if I go on Steam right now and I try to look up the player base and their average player base, it's like 200 and something thousand a month. And that's just on Steam. That's not on consoles. That's not on EA. That's not on any of these other things. And if you're telling me that 200 people over here are complaining that they made a mistake, but 95% of their player base doesn't care.
Yeah,
the
95%, that's an A.
Right.
You know?
But
It happened to Rocket League with Psyonix and trading.
Usually the people with the loudest voices are still in a minority. But I mean,
even with their followers, yeah.
There are certain YouTube channels, like I play the Marvel Strike Forces I've mentioned. Like I will not listen to certain people because that's how they get their views, is just racking up.
Yeah, they're grieving.
That is
but it's just them complaining about how bad the game is. It's just like
while playing it 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Like.
Yeah, that is the I think I read somewhere that is the highest viewed video on YouTube now. Is they didn't say the name, but they said the guys I was watching, they hate this sort of content, so they're like, I'm not going to justify it by giving it a name. But the highest rated or viewed video on YouTube is some guy just posting hate about, playing a game or whatever. Or it's a negative reaction video. And I'm just like, yeah, because people are drawn in more by negative than by the positive.
No, and there's even like a D&D content creator that I noticed. I won't name them by names, but I'm sure anyone that follows D&D on YouTube will realize that that's all their videos is, this D&D drama's happened, or this is absolutely insane, or just like, and they get hundreds of thousands of views.
Yeah, because they're following the algorithm.
Being a tabloid, basically.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
As long as you follow the algorithm, you're gonna get views. Yeah. If you learn how to play the algorithm, no matter what social media platform that you're on, whether it's YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, it doesn't matter.
Whatever.
If you start realizing how the algorithm works,
yeah,
you're gonna get monstrous amounts of views, and you're gonna do just fine. After that, it's just dedication.
Yeah, it's the consistency.
Yeah, consistency is big. I mean, how many times do we go on, say, TikTok or on YouTube or on any of those that have short form content, and you find a creator that is really cool, and you're like, man, I really like this video. So you go to their thing, and you watch that creator's videos 20 deep. You're 20 videos deep into this creator's stuff. And then suddenly you're like, man, I've seen all this stuff before. How come? And then you move on to the next creator because you're done with their stuff.
You've seen their library. Yeah.
That's why creators are under so much pressure, and probably especially in D&D, right? Because in the D&D, short-term content that I see is like, let's make this super overpowered build. The amount of times I see, make me an overpowered build.
Oh, God.
And I'm like, where are you using these builds?
Yeah.
Like, do you have a game that just lets you like power game like 24/7 and like you're just gods of the universe at all times? Like,
for my character I'm playing now, Merrick, one of the inspirations is Darth Vader. That's what I did. Darth Vader D&D 5e. There's like 10 videos of that.
Yeah, how to
all
make Darth
pretty
Vader.
much the exact same.
That, and it's not an insult, whatever, but you're an unoptimized Hexaden.
Yeah. I do not care about min-maxing or optimum builds or breaking the game. I don't care. I play the game to have fun. So yeah, Merrick is absolutely not optimized.
Do you have those moments when you're leveling up where you're like, man, if I took that, it'd be so broken. It'd be so broken. And then I'm looking at like the amount of times that I've almost taken Summon Draconic Spirit.
Oh, Jesus.
Like,
yeah.
But I've just been like, my character wouldn't have any idea how to do it.
Yeah,
so I'm just gonna.
There was one spell that I was looking at, Summon Elemental, that I can get, and I was like, oh,
CR5.
I could summon a Fire Elemental.
Yeah.
Wait, starts a Fire Giant. Nate's campaign, the Fire Giants are fighting the Fire Elementals. Merrick wouldn't take that. So I'm like, so I didn't take it. And so I'm like, no.
Just reflavor it into Chain Fire Elemental.
Oh,
so that it's basically a summon, like a Pokemon that you've just bound.
Fire Elemental forced internship.
Yeah. But yeah, you can't change much, unfortunately, with the D&D Beyond stuff. Cypher's actually came out with just a video, just because it's a centralized system. They can pull. It's their own system, so they can technically do any of these changes without notice.
Oh yeah, they can just
I mean, talked about before a couple weeks back, Brent, of they So people that they claim they didn't have enough money to give credit to in the books,
Oh,
they
yeah.
gave credit to on D&D Beyond. They've removed their names off D&D Beyond and uncredited people.
Because it would have set a bad precedence.
Yeah, they only had they gave them temporary credit.
Yeah.
It's like, what the?
I mean, it doesn't matter. At some point, it's all going to be AI generated anyway. Like,
Yeah, sadly.
a new game came out that I've been looking forward to for a long time. Sins of the Solar Empire 2 came out. And it's a 4X grand strategy space game. And they have Steam now requires games to list if they're using AI assets.
Oh,
It
okay.
has to be listed on there that there's AI assets being used in this. And then so I went and looked, what did they use the AI assets for? They had artists design whole things constantly, and they fed it all into the AI generator.
Oh, okay. So
And then the
more-
AI generator only learned what those artists put into it, and then came out with designs based off of all the artists' work.
using these 20 starships, generate a starship,
Generate
Here
a
you go.
fleet of
Yeah.
these, and let's come up with it. And it was a really cool idea because the artists still did their work. They still got paid for their work. And then the company took their work, put it in there, fed it through the AI, and I'm
was
sure
there.
somewhere those artists still get credit for it. I don't know. I
yeah.
haven't looked that far down into the rabbit hole. But just the fact that I felt that this game was utilizing the AI
In a right way.
in
in a responsible way.
I'm okay with that as long as the AI is being used to run the minutia and to streamline the human process while still allowing the human process to take place. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
AI is supposed to be a tool to help us, not a tool to replace us.
Once we get to a point where we can have AI generated dungeon masters, the game
It's coming.
It's absolutely coming.
And no matter how much we want to grognard against it, because I'm against it, yeah, it's coming.
Oh, it's
'cause
coming.
We're, like I just said, we're not the target audience.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And it's kind of the thing for as long
You can already kind of
kind of.
do it
Because,
on
you know,
ChatGPT a little bit.
Kind of. Yeah.
A little bit, yeah. And
Doesn't
you've
remember
already
very much.
No.
You proved that one day when we were working together.
Yeah, I sent you. It definitely pulls from some of the more famous.
party invite.
It pulls the source books that it pulls from are some of the more famous things, right? So you'll hear it talk about Water's Deep, or you'll hear it talk about
And that,
some of the famous D&D parties that have happened.
Oh.
Like it'll mention these people by name, like meet you in Water's Deep, or they do this or that, and then you're like, wait a minute, how did I end up doing this?
Like, wow,
I had one time where it told me the guy that I basically gave him Rumlock's backstory,
yeah.
and we were getting ready to go on an adventure, and it's like, all right, the next day you go into the tavern, and all these people, this adventuring party is there that you were supposed to meet up with, and this guy. And I'm like, isn't that the guy I want to kill? Like the whole purpose of me going
kill
is to find this dude and be like, you did some messed up stuff to me.
You
Why
killed
is
my
this
father,
person
first
here?
die.
And then they just like, and I asked it. I was like, how come this person's here? I thought that, and it was like, oh, I'm sorry. And then it just removes that person and continues, like they were never there.
Oh, retcon.
That is called retconning.
AI doesn't know anything about that. It doesn't care.
Yeah, it doesn't give a shit. Yeah.
It's there to please you.
The thing
Anyway.
yeah, AI and all that, and what they're doing with D&D Beyond, it's just going to be a slow change, I suppose. They can't do it all at once, or else they're going to revolt and lose their money.
Hell, I can't.
I mean, they proved it this last weekend when people really threw a fit, and their money got threatened, so they rolled back again.
Yeah.
Okay.
The issue is there's so many people out there that play D&D that don't follow any of this news. They don't care about it.
They don't- yeah,
They
they-
just want
yeah.
to sit down and have a good time. They
Yeah.
don't do social media. They hear about a new book that got purchased, so maybe they go buy the new book, and they sit there and do it. And
Stay out of the drama because they don't want to be
yeah,
involved
'cause
in
they
it.
don't really care that much.
Yeah, exactly.
I get it. The influencers, the YouTube video guys, like all the big guys, they have to, right? They have to care because
Yeah, it's their
It's
job.
part of their job. It's part of staying relevant. It's part of knowing
But
what's
90% of the player base isn't going to care.
coming. Nope.
Yeah.
Exactly. What was it? Statistically, they're saying 2/3 of the D&D players don't even use D&D Beyond,
Yeah, they.
Oh,
Nope.
no. I don't need it.
and they're still making how much off of it?
Right. I mean, I could do it, like when I send you my stuff and we create our things, I could look all that up online myself. It's just easier for me to click D&D Beyond,
Oh,
see the character that I've built,
Yeah.
level it up once and go, oh, I get an extra spell. Or,
Yeah,
hey,
and
now I have a new
it
feat.
presents you, here's your options. Yeah, that's... Yeah. That's
It's a
okay.
tool to be used. If you don't
Yeah.
like the way the tool operates, then don't use
They
it.
don't use a tool. Yeah.
The things I can't like really condone, or the things I will stand against firmly, though, is like with the D&D like 6e or 5.5 or 1, whatever we want to call it, is like the Blurgate incident that I was telling you about, Chase, or them copy striking D&D shorts.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird.
That's messed up.
Because D&D Shorts used the PDF for his video that had the NDA assigned to it rather
Yeah.
than the published book. Or there's Sly Flourish that basically had a top view of him going through the 6e book, because I'm just going to call it 6e, and kind of showed you literally a point of view thing of him going through the book and going through and complimenting, giving it an actually good review. And the same with D&D Shorts. He gave it a really good review. And then the people contacted him 3 days after and said, "Oh, here's the rules for you showing the book."
Yeah, after it was already posted. Yeah.
And he had to redo the thing for at least 75% of the spread out pages, which that's all his video was a spread out.
Right.
To the point where he even said, it's like, "This isn't fun. I'm promoting your product and you're just kind of ruining it for me." So,
No thanks.
or there's Justin Alexander, who's the Alexandrian. He's 90% of the reason why the first part of the Avernus book was so much fun, because he's the one that helped. I looked at his blog. He showed me how to add the letters in and
Oh, nice.
add extra, or why Walden Winters was in there, because he said, "Hey, you could throw vampires in here and throw this moral dilemma even further." Because there's people being recruited basically to defend their city. It's doing the right thing the wrong way. I took that straight from him. And he goes, so judging off other creators, I'm being told I can't basically show you this book.
Yeah.
So he goes, "Here's 20 other RPGs that you should be playing instead of this."
Yeah. Instead of doing this, use these because they're not as a-hole-ish.
Right. They just don't seem like they have all the things fleshed out that they
No.
should be. It seems like they're trying to rush out. Hey, look at this great news that we have, when they haven't built the foundations for
Yeah.
it on how to appropriately put it out in a world where information goes from point A to point B immediately.
Yeah. It's like they're opening a theme park and none of the rides work.
Right.
It's like, hey, why are we doing this?
I'm trying to understand, because I remember when 5e came out, they came out with the Player's Handbook and the Monster Manual like right away together. I don't understand the point of bringing out the Player's Handbook. Maybe it's because you can back convert 5th
I
edition.
think it's because it's backwards compatible. They're not worried about releasing them as a set because just use the rules that are already in place, and then we'll change the rules when the new books come out.
Yeah, but then releasing them at least
Like
minimum
months
7 months, since they pushed back the other book. Well, it was originally supposed to come out on my birthday, and then it got pushed back by 4 months.
Yeah. So it's just,
And the only book I really care about out of the 3, if I really want to look at it, is the Dungeon Master's Guide, just because I want to see what they say. Just because that's my usual role.
If the best rule that I've ever read out of the Dungeon Master's Guide is from Gary Gygax himself. You don't need the rules; it's all made up.
Yeah, that's why it's literally
Yeah.
the guide, not
Yeah.
the rule book.
Right.
Yeah, it's like you don't need this crap. Go have fun with your friends. You
Yeah,
got it,
that's
sir.
true.
You got it. So I don't know. I mean, I will probably at some point in time break down and buy a physical copy of the books,
Same.
but
Most people will.
I will-
Regardless of what everybody says.
And
I
that
think
would lead to my point. If you are really against them doing these changes on D&D Beyond without notice or without changes, because they're allowed to, because it's their company and
yeah,
their
they can,
product.
they can change it. Yeah,
But yeah, I highly recommend, buying the physical books. They can't change the physical books.
yeah, they can't. Yeah, once you buy them, they can't change them.
Hey, tabletop gamers. Thank you for watching this episode of the Hermit's Homebrew. We come out with new episodes every Wednesday. Remember to like, subscribe, and share with your friends as we continue to level up and grow.